All right, I see that we are now streaming live on YouTube, so we will get started by calling the meeting to order. I will remind council to please disclose of any pecuniary interests at the appropriate time. And thank you, Mike, for attending. We're going to start with the consideration meetings. So we do need a motion that Warwick Township Council proceed. Oh, sorry. We don't need a motion. We're going to proceed into the consideration of the drainage reports of the Arts Drain number 2, 2020, Birchall Drain Culvert Reassessment 2020, Howden Parker Drain Branch 6 Reassessment 2020, and Rotor Drain Reassessment 2020. Any petitioner has the right to withdraw from the petition. Does anyone wish to withdraw? Any other owners in the area requiring drainage have the right to sign the petition. Does anyone wish to sign the petition? All right, Mike DeVos of Spreets Associates, will you please explain these reports? And we'll go one by one, A, B, C, D, and so on.
Okay, thank you. So first is the Arts Drain number 2. It was a report prepared in accordance with Section 4 of the Drainage Act for a new municipal drain. There's several properties along the south side of Confederation Line, west of Arcona Road, that petitioned to have some existing private mains that serve the area replaced with a larger, newer, and deeper municipal tile that would be there to provide a better outlet both for subsurface and subsurface water. There is some water that comes from the north side of Confederation Line, as well as road water coming off of Confederation Line that comes south into the field in a couple locations. And there's also a farmyard on the Arts property where the water is flowing through the Art area. We were requested to divert the new municipal drain around the area on the yard of the Arts property. But essentially, we're looking at installing a new 14-inch diameter concrete tile in the basically the creek, where it just comes from the Kersey drain crossing Confederation Line from the north side to the south side. That's near an unopened road allowance there. And we will be extending that new drain heading east, staying south of the Confederation Line. And then once we get to the Arts property, veering southeasterly in behind the farmyard there, and then coming up to the Westgate property in the middle of lot 23. There is further private tiling upstream of that, but we have not been asked to continue the municipal drain past that point. There's surface water that comes from the Dijon property in the west part of lot 23, but all the tiling itself has been taken north to the Birchill drain. And so we've accounted for that both in the design and the assessments that the surface and subsurface water is going in a different direction. We will need to update the Birchill drain report to reflect the fact that there is additional area being tiled into it that wasn't originally shown to have that occur. We are also recommending some catch basins be installed along the way at the property lines to try and capture as much surface water as we can and get it into the drain. And stop and open up to questions.
Any questions, council? Seeing none, you're welcome to move on to the Birchall Drain Culvert Reassessment.
Okay, this report was prepared in accordance with Section 76 of the Drainage Act, which deals with a new schedule for future maintenance. Basically, what's happened is the old report that was in place for this stretch of the drain had shown 2 different properties with 2 different culverts on it. And the reports did not distinguish the work on the ditch versus work on culverts that were separate. So there's no mechanism to assess costs just for culverts. So we were asked to add a new schedule of assessment and identify which culvert it is that's actually part of the municipal drain and which ones become private. So this report does provide for that new maintenance schedule so that in the future the culvert can be replaced and have the cost distributed fairly. I'll stop and open the questions.
Any questions on that report? Seeing none, we can move on to the Howden Parker Drain Branch 6 reassessment.
Okay, this report was also prepared in accordance with Section 76 of the Drainage Act. There is an existing municipal drain with a schedule of assessment, but it has become to be out of date and unfair due to property splits, changes in land use, as well as change in drainage conditions. The construction of the 402, as well as surface water flows as well, and properties have changed. So the old schedule is not fair, and we have produced a new schedule showing the existing properties and the drainage conditions as they are now. Any water from south of the highway and from the highway itself no longer gets into this drain. So there is now a new schedule that indicates that. I stop and open up to questions.
Any questions, council? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the McChesney Drain.
That's one for the quarter revision.
Oh, I apologize. We're on the rotor drain reassessment.
Rotor drain, yeah, the rotor drain reassessment. Again, it's under Section 76 of the Drainage Act for a reassessment for a new schedule so that the maintenance costs can be distributed fairly. This particular drain has been done numerous times in the past at different times. The reports themselves actually overlap, and there's a few pieces in the middle that are missing from having proper records. So it was felt that to properly distribute the costs, as well as the fact that there's been several severances and other drains upstream that have been built and changing some of the watershed limits and the property configurations so that you have a new schedule again to distribute maintenance costs. And I believe the municipality was looking at either having it done already or proposing to do it in the near future. I'm not sure which one, but in this case, the schedule will be used to distribute maintenance. And again, I'll stop and open up to questions.
Any questions on that drain? At this time, we can take questions from anybody if they have any questions about the above drains. Does anyone who is present wish to ask any questions or make any comments? Okay, if the report is approved, the bylaw will be given first and second reading later in the meeting. And thank you for attending. We are now going to move on to the Court of Revisions meeting for the McChesney Drain 2019. So we do need a motion from council to go into that. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. I'll note that Mike DeVos from Spreets at Engineering is in attendance. Have any written appeals been received? Does
I
anyone...
don't have any from staff. Have anything come in? I haven't.
All right, doesn't look like any written appeals have been received. Does anyone present have any verbal appeals? Mike, do you have any comments? Oh, sorry.
Oh, Mayor Rembas, I was just going to point out that we do have a resident on the line who I believe is here for this drain, and I did just unmute them. Don, not sure if you have any comments, but you are now unmuted.
No, I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about at the meeting. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
All right.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right. Mike, do you have any comments to make?
No, usually for a quarter revision, it's strictly dealing with appeals. So if there's no appeals, I have no comment.
All right. Since there are no appeals filed, the following resolution is to be passed.
Can I ask a question? It was going to be done in August. Obviously, it's not. When is it going to be done?
It's a good question.
You want me to address that, Andrew?
Sure, if I have the answer, but if you want to go ahead.
You can go ahead.
And well, maybe you've got more knowledge. From my memory, I'm pretty sure the form of tender said they would construct it by February of 2021.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it recently, but I believe that's the case. I haven't seen it for a while, but I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I think that's my understanding. So they're not late yet.
So it could be any time between now and February then, Andrew?
Theoretically, but I would guess that it's likely going to be later than sooner.
Has it been officially awarded to them?
I believe so. I believe this was done prior to I think it was tendered right after the consideration meeting, because we knew that we wanted to push ahead with this, and I believe this is a Van Bree job which was awarded.
Okay.
Yeah,
Van Bree is behind. I know that.
Okay. Don, does that answer your question?
Yes, there's nothing I can do about it. It's going to be a little bit muddy come February, but oh well. I guess that's what they do.
Yeah, if I could speak on that, we will be out there. Andrew will be out there, and I would recommend that you keep an eye as well. And if any of us see ground conditions that we don't think the contractor should be working, then we need to let the contractor know and make them get off the properties so they don't do any more damage. Now, sometimes they will tell you that if they leave, they're not coming back for quite a while because they got other places to go. But at the same time, it is our discretion to stop them. So if you see something that you think needs to be halted, then you please let us know.
Okay.
Good information. All right. So we do need a motion that the Court of Revisions for the McChesney Drain 2019 Addendum Bylaw number 25 of 2020 be closed without changes to the report, and that we go back into open session. Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That is carried. And we are going to go on to the Court of Revisions meeting for the Perry Drain 2019. So we need a motion that Warwick Township Council proceed into the Court of Revisions for the Perry Drain 2019 bylaw number 23 of 2020. So that is moved by Councillor White and seconded by Councillor Westgate. Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. And I'll note that Mike DeVos is still here from Spreets Engineering, and ask that if we have any written appeals received. Doesn't look like it.
I don't know of any.
Okay. Does anyone present have any verbal appeals? George, are you here for this drain or?
I'm just here on Spreet Associates. I work with Mike. I'm just here as an observer at this point.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure if you were a resident or not, so. Okay. So I don't hear any verbal appeals. Mike, do you have any comments to make?
Nope, if there's no appeals, no comments.
All right, since there's no appeals filed, the following resolution is to be passed, that the Court of Revision of the Perry Drain 2019 bylaw number 23 of 2020 be closed without changes to the report, and that we go back into open session. Open council, do we have a mover and a seconder to that? Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. And council, we have one more. So we need a motion that Warwick Township Council proceed into the Court of Revisions for the Reval O'Neill 2019 bylaw number 24 of 2020. And that's moved by Councillor Westgate, seconded by Counselor White, thank you. All in favor? That is carried. And Mike DeVos from Spreets Engineering is still in attendance. Have there been any written appeals?
Not to
No.
my knowledge.
Does anyone present have any verbal appeals? Mike, do you have any comments to make?
There's no appeals. I have no comments.
All right, since there are no appeals filed, the following resolution is to be passed, that the Court of Revision for the Ravel O'Neill Drain 2019 bylaw number 24 of 2020 be closed without changes to the report, and that we go back into open council. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Morris, all in favor. That is carried. That's quite painless. Now we do have some bylaws here. Amanda, can I get you to read those out and we'll get motions for the lot of them?
Absolutely, Mayor Rambut. So that bylaw number 69 to 72 and 83 of 2020 be read a first and second time.
Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor White, all in favor. That is carried.
Thank you. And that bylaws numbers 23 to 25 and 83 of 2020 be read a third time and finally passed.
Moved by Councillor Westgate, seconded by Councillor White, all in favor. That is carried, and we just need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Morris, all in favor.